I never thought I'd be the one sharing something like this, but here I am, spilling it all out into the quiet of the night. It wasn't like those romantic films with their flicking lights and swelling scores, no. It was raw and real, just a heavy silence and a gaze that pierced right through me, shutting something inside that I didn't even know was fragile. Have you ever felt like you're floating outside your own body, watching everything unfold? You know you ought to ten and run, but your legs just won't cooperate? That's exactly where I found myself. I wasn't seeking trouble that day. I hadn't put on my best dress or bothered with any makeup. Temptation doesn't wait for you to look perfect, though it slips in through the smallest crack. And they let it happen without meaning to. You see, when loneliness creeps in and takes hold. When your partner stops in the exhaustion etched into your every smile. When the walls of your own home feel more chilling than the winter wind howling outside. You start grasping for anything that proves you're still there. Not for passion or even a simple kiss, but for evidence that someone notices you, that you're still desired. And when that proof shows up in the unlikeliest of places, that intense look in their eyes doesn't register as forbidden, it feels like a lifeline. Pulling you back from the edge, they were the ones observing me and they cut them in the act. What terrified me the most? I didn't glance away. I didn't recoil. I craved it, and deep down, I believed they did too. I wish I could claim it and on my heel and left that I pictured my children and their innocent faces, but in that instant, all I could focus on was the emptiness in my heart finally starting to thaw. This isn't a tale of monsters or mindless desire. It's about the fractures we carry inside, the ones hidden until someone pauses to truly see them. And when they draw closer, not just to observe but to connect. You can't help but wonder what it would be like if they didn't stop at looking, if they reached out and stayed. That's how it unfolded when they expressed that desire to see more. And I found myself echoing it silently. Let me paint the picture. I'm 35, a mom to two little girls, and most mornings, the person staring back from the mirror feels like a stranger. My hair's always in a messy bun, my eyes carry the weight of sleepless nights, and my body has offended in ways that remind me of all the years that have passed. But it's not just the surface that shifted inside. I've changed too. I used to laugh freely, without a second thought, but now every green feels scripted, forced. My husband, Tom, he's not a bad man, just distant, always off on business trips. Even when he saw me, I crashes in the spare room, claiming I keep him awake with my snoring. Maybe that's true, but I suspect it's more than that. Perhaps he doesn't want to feel the burden of my presence anymore. Ever since I was second-daughter, we've been more like cohabitants than partners, exchanging texts instead of words. And the last time, he reached for me without an ulterior motive. Our youngest was barely out of her crib. Then there were accent dryly. The couple from our community group vibrant. Carefree folks who lit up any room they entered. Dead house gatherings in their backyard with barbecues and chill drinks pulling us into their world of easy lefty. Alex would handle the grill, flipping Vegas with a grin, while Riley poured the wine and shared stories that had us all in stitches. I'd sit there, chuckling along, trying to ignore how they looked at each other with that fresh, youthful spark, or how Lax's eyes would linger on me when Riley wasn't paying attention. Or the way Riley's hand would brush my shoulder during a joke, holding just a bit too long. I convinced myself, it was all in my head, that no one sees a mad up to that way anymore. But as our get-togethers became routine, it grew impossible to dismiss a change in the air when I stepped into their space, the way Alex always filled my glass fest. Or how Riley sat so close when is nearly touched. They made me feel included, not like faded wallpaper or NFT that, and I hadn't realized how starved I was for that until it was staring me in the face. On the surface, it was all smiles, but beneath, I was desperate for something I couldn't quite define. I never expected that one evening, I'd find myself longing for their attention, for them to truly see me. It began innocently enough, with the kids finally settled me in their rooms upstairs. There's dozing in the play area. The fire pit glowed softly, glasses half empty, and we all sank into the outdoor chairs as if we'd never leave. Riley leaned back, flashing that playful smack, and said, "Let's try something a bit more mature tonight." Alex chuckled right away, and Tam let out a hesitant laugh, the kind that says you're not sure if it's serious. I smiled and abated my eyes, but Riley didn't elaborate, it wasn't necessary. The topic shifted, yet the trimmer hung in the air like the lingering scent of smoke and my clothes, long after it returned on me. A few evenings later, it is fast. Same setup, but the vibe was heavy. Riley poured the wine with deliberate slowness, her gaze locking onto mine a fraction longer than before. "We're not kidding on this team," she said with a smile that didn't fully light up her face. I left, but it was different here. The way she emphasized, we sent a shiver through me. Tom was glued to his phone, oblivious, but Alex was tuned in, watching with a quiet intensity that felt oddly comforting. And that, he realized, was that he risked how naturally told him. The next morning, he lingered in front of the mirror, something he hadn't done in ages. He swiped an habita bailaine, dug out earrings from the back of my drawer. That night, when we were invited over again, he swapped outfits more than once, settling on something that fit a little closer than my usual mom wear. Tom didn't notice, but when he walked into Alex and Riley's living room, Alex did. "You look great," he said simply, and those words hit me like a wave. Riley just beamed, handing me a drink as if we'd choreographed it all after the meal, with the table cleared and the music turned down low. Riley brought it up again. "What about a game of truth or dare, no holds barred?" We all left, me included, but inwardly, my mind raced. What would the dare entail? Why was my pulse quickening at the thought? Glancing across at Alex, I saw he was already looking my way. It felt innocent at first, just a short glance, a fleeting idea wrapped in secrecy. But secrets have a way of expanding, growing sharp edges, and an appetite of their own, until they demand to be acknowledged. I kept telling myself it was harmless vente, a diversion for adults feeling the monotony. I had my family, my routine, a house that smelled of fresh laundry and kids' next, but it was famished for more. Not drama or intimacy for its own sake, but for a spark, for someone to see me, beyond the daily grind, beyond being the one, WH remembers the grocery sources could run. I yearned to feel like a woman again, not just a parental spouse. One night, as the men discussed sports, Riley leaned in closer. "We wouldn't mind if it helped ease solitude," she whispered. I left, but it stuck in my throat. Was that a gesture enough? IDNT probe. I didn't want to uncover the truth, yet it consumed my thoughts. It nestled in the corner of my mind like a forbidden box, until one night I opened it as the children were asleep. Tom had dozed off early with his earbuds in, and my phone buzzed. "We rode by the pool. Join if you like." No strings. My fingers shook as I stared at the message for what felt like an eternity. I total my daughters upstairs, their school clothes ready for morning, of Tom snoring away, untouched for months. And the thought of Riley's laughter echo in by the water, Alex relaxed and bare arm, glasses bathing with condensation. For once, I silenced the doubts and just acted. I drew a cabeza up, peded quietly out the door, and stepped into the cool evening without a wet. Sea was crisp, but the pool water enveloped me in warmth. Mistracing like whispers from the deep. They were already there, Riley with her hair tied up, Alex lounging Kechawali. Eased meme in that, I couldn't stay long. Riley passed me a glass, her expression soft and welcoming. Soft tones drifted from a speaker nearby, wrapping the moment in a hazy veil. For a while, we chatted about trivial things and deep metes. Our voices mingling with the night sounds, as if nothing could touch us then. Alex's arm grazed mine under the water, and it lingered. It didn't shift away, and Riley noticed her smile knowing, assured. I headed home soon after, slipping back into bed beside Tom. His back turned as always, my skin still humming from the encounter. After that, I found excuses to visit more frequently later evenings when Tom was occupied or away. Sometimes it was just Riley and me, other times just Alex, but often all three. Nothing intense happened at first, just conversations that stretched on, glances that held, touches that didn't fade away. Alex would sip my drink first, Riley would comment on how much upsetted me. It was understated but persistent, and it made me feel whole again, not the woman struggling with tight jeans or high winters in the utility room, but simply myself. One evening, as Alex lit the lanterns, Riley memed. "You don't have to hide here." I didn't question it. I let the words settle like a quiet promise. I began imagining what it would be like to be truly wanted, not by the men I vowed to love, who no longer saw me, but by those who made me feel valued. Desired without reason. And then Riley said it plainly, her tone steady. "We want to see you, all of you." I didn't refuse the sudden downpour hit the twig, the skies unleashing without warning. Tom was on a trip, and it was at Alex and Riley's, helping with their little one, who had a cold, while my girls had made a mess at home. Once the kids were done, the house grew still, the lights flicking out in the storm. Alex fetched candles, Riley uncorked a special bottle. We settled on the rack, leaning against the sofa, shadows flicking around us. No music, just a rain's rhythm and our steady breaths. Riley poured carefully, her fingers brushing mine, and she didn't withdraw. She moved closer, her breath warmed my skin, and then her lips met mine gentle, exploratory, like rediscovering something lost. I froze briefly, my mind yelling for me to stop, but my body responded, drawing nearer. It was tender, almost holy. Alex sat still, his gaze steady, as if he'd anticipated this. Riley pulled back slightly, our foreheads touching, and I felt her heartbeat echo mine. We didn't talk. Words weren't needed. Se left from before faded into caresses into closeness. It wasn't frantic or shameful, it was a quiet yielding. As if we'd all been waiting for permission to say yes. in the midst of the storm's fury and sense calm. I glanced at the reflection in the glass across the room and didn't turn away. I woke in my own bed the next morning. Sheets twisted around me, the house humming with its usual sounds. For a second, I wondered if it had been a dream, the candles, the kiss, the vulnerability. But the faint scent of chlorine clung to me, and the memorable touch lingered on my side. A message pinned on my phone: "We're here for you." No hard feelings, a registered entity, torn between emotions I couldn't name. Downstairs, I brewed coffee as always, pouring 2 cups. Tom wandered in, disheveled, and kissed my cheek for the first time in ages. I nearly dropped the mat. Later, they invited us over for another games in the yard, food on the grill, life carrying on as if nothing shifted. Riley waved casually, Alex gave a brief nod without meeting my eyes. I avoided lingering stares, and when Tom rested his hand on my back in line for refreshments, I flinched ever so slightly, feeling the contrast acutely. No drama erupted, no arguments, no revelations, just a profound quiet. And I'd come to understand that silence can be as violent as any tempest. I still handle the chores, fold the clothes, sing the same lullabies to my girls each night. But I'm different now. That night cracked me open, and the pieces haven't realigned. I didn't end my marriage, didn't storm out or demand change. I stayed, going through emotions, smiling at events, holding hands when expected, listening to Tom with faint interest. But part of me remains in that room. In that candlelit moment, with their eyes on me, deciding, and me finally feeling seen.